Pammakaristos Church, also known as the Church Theotokos Pammakaristos, in 1591 converted into a mosque and known as Fethiye Mosque and today partly a museum, is one of the most famous Byzantine churches in Istanbul, Turkey. The Pammakaristos, besides being one of the most important examples of Constantinople's Paleologan architecture, and the last pre-Ottoman building to house the Ecumenical Patriarchate, also has the largest amount of Byzantine mosaics in Istanbul after the Hagia Sophia and Kora Church. Location: the building is located in the Kazimbar neighborhood within the district of Fatih inside the walled city of Istanbul. Theotokos Pammakaristos overlooks the Golden Horn. History: according to most scholars, the church was built between the 11th and the 12th centuries. Many historians and archaeologists believe that the original structure of the church can be attributed to Michael VII Ducas. Others put its foundation in the Komnenian period. It has also been suggested by the Swiss scholar and Byzantinist Ernest Mambury that the original building was erected in the 8th century. A Pammakaristos was added to the south side of the church in the early Paleologan period, and dedicated to Christos Hologos. The small shrine was erected by Martha Glabas in memory of her late husband, the protostrator Michael Ducas Glabas Tarkaniots, a general of Andronikos II Paleologos, shortly after the year 1310. An elegant dedicatory inscription to Christ, written by the poet Manuel Fales, runs along the Pammakaristos, both outside and inside it. The main church was also renovated at the same time, as the study of the Templon has shown. Following the fall of Constantinople, the seat of the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate was first moved to the Church of the Holy Apostles, and in 1456 to the Pammakaristos Church, which remained as the seat of the Patriarchate until 1587. 5 years later, the Ottoman Sultan Murad III converted the church into a mosque and renamed it in honor of his Feta of Georgia and Azerbaijan, hence the name Fethiye Cami. To accommodate the requirements of prayer, most of the interior walls were removed in order to create a larger inner space. The complex, which was neglected, has been restored in 1949 by the Byzantine Institute of America and Dumbarton Oaks, which brought it back to its pristine splendor. While the main building remains a mosque, the Pammakaristos has since then been a museum. Architecture and decoration: the Komnenian building was a church with the main aisle and 2 deambulatoria, and had 3 apses, and another to the west. The masonry was typical of the Komnenian period, and adopted the technique of the recessed brick. In this technique, alternate courses of brick are mounted behind the line of the wall, and are plunged in a mortar's bed, which can still be seen in the cistern underneath and in the church. The transformation of the church into a mosque changed the original building greatly. The arcades connecting the main aisle with the deambulatoria were removed and were replaced with broad archways to open up the nave. The 3 apses were removed too. In the place toward the east, a great domed room was built, obliquely with respect to the orientation of the building. On the other side, the Pammakaristos represents the most beautiful building of the late Byzantine period in Constantinople. It has the typical cross-in-square plan with 5 domes, but the proportion between vertical and horizontal dimensions is much bigger than usual. Although the inner colored marble revetment largely disappeared, the shrine still contains the restored remains of a number of mosaic panels, which, while not as varied and well preserved as those of the Kora Church, serve as another resource for understanding late Byzantine art. A representation of the Pantocrator, surrounded by the prophets of the Old Testament, is under the main dome. On the apse, Christ Hyperagathos is shown with Virgin Mary and Saint John the Baptist. The baptism of Christ survives intact to the right side of the dome.